Welcome, everybody, to the Shaken Not Stirred podcast. My name is Tristan Nichols. I'll be hosting tonight with my co-host, Spencer Conley. Spencer, you want to take over?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks for listening to all the billions of people out there that are tuning in this evening or morning, depending on where you are. Anyways, if you can't tell, we're a little nervous. This is our very first podcast and hopefully the first of many. And like he said, this is shaken, not stirred. We might get to exactly what that means in a little bit, but it means a lot to us. No, we are not alcohol enthusiasts, as the title might hint at. Rather, we're big Bond fans, and Mr. Bond himself has played a pretty big role in both of our lives since we were kids. And don't want to speak for Tristan, but I sure know he has in mine. I'm 25 years
I'm more
old.
of a
Tristan,
Jason Bourne guy, you know?
Yeah, Jason Bourne guy. How old are you, Tristan?
24.
24 and 25. So we're both young guys. We are in, I don't know if we want to say the prime of our career, but we're certainly at the very, very beginning. And it's exciting, and they're different paths, and they're very similar in so many ways. And we've cultivated just an incredible relationship. We played college football together, and blessed to have this guy in my life. But we've got some interesting things to talk about, and
Unpack,
just thought to
unfold.
Yeah, exactly.
Dive
To all the other young men or old men or young ladies out there, whoever's listening, maybe you can get some level of value out of this. You'll probably get quite a bit of laughs, as we have, just out of trying to begin the first 30 seconds of this. So, anyways. Tristan, you want me to talk about kind of the meaning behind it? I mean, I touched on it a little bit. Obviously, Bond is the inspiration. But
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and let the viewers know what kind of the inspiration of why we started it, how we came up with the name.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been wanting to do a podcast for a little while now, both being really busy individuals. It's been hard to pull it together, but now we're here and we decided to just jump in. And Shaken Not Stirred is obviously a reference to James Bond. And like I said, since we were little kids, it's like as a young boy, James Bond is the ideal. It's the fast cars, it's the guns, it's the fighting, it's the beautiful women. It's like everything that you could possibly
suits,
exactly
perfectly
it's
tailored.
The clothing.
Yeah.
He encompasses exactly. He encompasses what at least for us as like little boys, young men, and still growing up, literally still to today. Like I haven't grown out of the phase. I feel like it's totally kind of what we want, and we're doing everything we can to get there. Although we probably won't be killing people, and some of the other crazy things involved, but you probably get the idea. So. That's the meaning, kind of the intent of the podcast. But really, again, we're both athletes. We both come from, to get really personal, like divorced homes. Like we've just got an interesting, very similar yet different upbringing, and I think it's fair to say that we're really thankful for the experiences, the good and the bad, because we wouldn't be doing this right now if we weren't. And off camera, there's a lot of older men in our lives who have played like a significant role. Won't list any names, but some of them
mentors, friends, etc.
Exactly, but some of them are like the real life James Bond. So it's it's kind of interesting how things come around. But anyways, that's the intent of the podcast. I'm sure it'll evolve over time. We'll get a little more organized, but you gotta start somewhere. So. Anyways, that's kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah, I want to lead this into a little bit of the structure on how we plan on doing this. We're going to start off probably doing it every 2 weeks or so. So call it 2 podcasts a month, and then eventually, as time frees up, or as we can take the time to set more time aside and whatnot, we can maybe move it to once a week and do it 4 times a month. So. That's how we're going to kind of structure it and run it for now. I think for the podcast, we're going to dive into a bunch of different topics like politics, cars, MMA, food, diet, working out.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to add anything else on that list, but pretty much anything and everything that you can think of going on or happening around us in the world every day.
Yeah, and we definitely want to keep it to a point where it's everybody uses the term, but it's unfiltered. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're young men. We've been in relationships before. We've had mentors that are, not the kind of people that you run into every day. And there's a
Yeah.
reason why they're in our lives. And when you're 24, 25, but some of these relationships started when we were, 20, 19 years old, you really, it shapes you in a way that, a friend who is the same age as you doesn't quite shape you because you're learning from someone. And in our case, it's always, for the most part, it's been like a man who's been through real life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And some people aren't too fond of the concept of mentors because I think you got to go out and do it on your own. Um, I don't really agree with that. And I think that the whole concept of it has changed my life. These people have changed my life completely.
Yeah.
And perhaps now that I think about it, as a podcast evolves and we're two young men, and with every podcast we do, we're a couple weeks older than we were on the last one. And, I've got a brother who's 14 years old, and I know the role that I play in his life. And his friends who are his age, and they hang out with me, and they always, it's they looking at me the way I look at my mentors. So
Mm-hmm.
for anybody else listening to this, maybe you look at this the same way. That's definitely our hope.
Yeah.
And like I said, it'll evolve over time. So
Yeah.
the more it
Definitely want to
evolves,
inspire in others.
yeah, for sure.
Continue
For
on
sure.
the mentor topic, I guess. I see them very much as like a master key. They'll just unlock
Mhm.
any door for you, and
Mhm.
they not only open a door that leads to other doors, but they will open doors that leads you to exactly what you're looking for.
Mhm.
Um, and then I also would mention we probably will try to get some guest speakers and whatnot on, going back to
Definitely.
the structure. So I think that would be really awesome. Obviously, as we keep the ball rolling and get some viewership and whatnot, then we'll see about getting some guest speakers on here, whether it's mentors, friends,
Yep.
anyone we can think of that would, pass on some knowledge and maybe have some good insights for people.
Definitely. Definitely. Do you want to talk a little bit? We don't have to go super deep in this one if you don't want, but you want to talk a little bit about your background, your upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, so I came from a pretty, I guess, like average household. Father was
Mm-hmm.
police officer. My mom, she owned her own business, doing insurance. So, we did well off. Nothing crazy, but they were able to put us through school and all that good stuff. But they did divorce when I was in my sophomore year of high school, and eventually went to college where I met Spencer and one of our other best friends. And after college, stopped playing football, finished college, and we moved down to Orange County. I'll give you guys that. I'm from live in Orange County now. But I worked for Tesla for about 2 years, and now I work in commercial real estate development / construction management. That's the route I want to go in my life, and I want to, keep learning. I do have two mentors in that area, so I'm learning my best from them and through the company as well. And hopefully one day start my own development company and see where things go from there.
Yeah. So that's the end goal for professional goals is get into development, real estate development, large scale, your own firm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
we all know somebody who's made it big in real estate.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's an old story where this kid's asking his mentor, why real estate? Why is real estate so big? Why is everyone in real estate? And he goes, do me a favor, pick up that dirt on the ground and put it in your pocket. So the kid does it, and he goes, Now, in 100 years, if you never took that dirt out of your pocket, it'd still be there. And I think there's two lessons you can kind of learn from that. One, um, like real estate's always going to be here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether a building comes down or goes up, the land is always there.
Yeah.
And two, um, I lost my train of thought here, but anywho,
Well,
you
I
get
get
the
your
idea.
point.
Yeah.
I totally get your point. Well, yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I definitely know people who've hit the big one in real estate, and it's, it's kind of like the stock market. Not that I'm an expert in that field, but, don't panic, hold, and things
Yeah.
typically increase in value.
Hmm.
So,
It's all about unemotional investing,
yeah, it's kind of like a 1964 DB5. It only increases in value.
right?
Yeah,
Just like
yeah,
that.
absolutely. All right, so as for myself, um, grew up in, I don't know, I don't want to say normal because it's not normal. I also don't want to say it's, outrageously abnormal, but was born in the state of Washington in the Tacoma area. And parents divorced when I was about 18 months old, moved down here. So I live Southern California in the Coachella Valley area. So everybody knows Coachella, the big concert and stagecoach, and I basically live across the street. So I don't even have to buy tickets, and you can basically hear it all. But that's where I've lived for the past, about 24 years of my life. When I say abnormal, what I mean is, so on my dad's side of the family, my grandfather was an entrepreneur in every sense of the word and was born in Oklahoma. So our family came to Oklahoma in 1889. And quick side note, but we went there, our whole family, all 18 of us, went back to Oklahoma July of this past year. And it's almost a full year ago now. And there are buildings in Oklahoma City that still have our last name on it from the 1800s. It was one of the
so
coolest
awesome.
things in the world to see, because
Yeah.
they basically came from nothing. And you see all these old articles, and there was entrepreneurs throughout my lineage, and they were in the pharmacy business and your typical Ace, not that it was an Ace Hardware, but hardware stores. And so my grandfather was born out there, and didn't have much, obviously, being out there. It was a lot of farmland. They did have a lot of farmland and everything, but it wasn't an easy life. It was a hard life. They were cowboys. They were real farmers, ranchers, and ended
Working hands
up.
to the bone.
Yeah. So his father became ill, really, really bad, and somehow my grandfather figured out that the Bank of Oklahoma, was infringing on their rights in terms of the mineral rights they had to their land, and they're using it basically without the permission. You can't just go onto somebody's land and do that. So
Right.
my grandpa became the youngest person in Oklahoma history. I don't know if it still stands, but he was 21 years old. He sued the Bank of Oklahoma and won.
Wow.
Yeah. So he took that money. It wasn't a big amount of money, but
Yeah.
took that, and
Enough to start something, right?
yeah, absolutely. And with my grandmother, who they got married super, super young, they moved to the state of Washington, and he became a school teacher. And he's a school teacher for about 10 years. And he rewrote the curriculum for the Tacoma School District, which is one of the largest up there. That curriculum, to my knowledge, is still in place today. And some crazy opportunity popped up where a friend of a friend had a couple assisted living facilities. So you think of grandma, grandpa, they get to a point where they can't quite live on their own anymore and they need some assistance. So they go to a facility. And this guy was operating some facilities. They were kind of run down, and he just didn't really know what he was doing. although the manager who really managed them was in the business still, and it just, I don't know, it came across my grandpa's desk, and they basically said, "Hey, do you want them?" And he said, "Well, sure," and scraped the money together, bought it, and over about a 20-year period, became one of the largest companies in that industry throughout the Northwest. So it's just an amazing story. So my dad worked in the business, my mom worked in the business, and that brought my dad with a job opportunity down to the Coachella Valley. And so they came down here and simultaneously kind of tried to work the marriage out. Obviously didn't work out maybe as planned, well, at least according to them. And both of them got into real estate. They've done exceptionally well. So, interesting background, and maybe the most interesting part, today is I find myself sort of unintentionally in very similar footsteps to my grandfather. I, have started a healthcare company and primarily focused on the older population. So we think private equity and think home health and hospice companies, where it's not the big facilities like he was in, but it's nurses and caregivers going out into the homes of the patient or the client. So we're buying those. I started that right getting out of college, and it's a grind. It's tiring. It's extremely fulfilling. There's little wins, and you got to celebrate them. But I think that, speaking for both, you and I, Tristan and I, we've tried different things, and you do well at them and you learn from them, but you get to a point where it's nope, this isn't quite what I'm looking for.
What I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you reached that point, and when Tesla, you knew that, it's a great job. Talk about efficiency, right? How to operate and manage efficiently. There's some of the most prolific on the planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything is down to the T there, Yeah.
So, but you reached a point where you were like, you know what, it's great, but I don't see myself here full time.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of the point that I got to with football in college. And like we said earlier, we played together. Great experience there at Redlands. We had a great team. Our coach is incredible. Total man's man. I think probably in some ways, directly or indirectly, a mentor to both of us. Just an exemplary human being. And so now we're, here today, and we're grinding away. So that's kind of my story as well.
Beautiful story. I didn't know all that with your grandpa, how it all started off. I knew he owned the healthcare companies and whatnot, but
yeah, it's a cool story. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I did find out about 2 years ago. My dad sent me a picture because my dad's side of the family's from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma, her maiden name is Cooper. They're from Missouri, and they moved to Tennessee. I think that's where she met my grandpa. But there's an old, like a little convenience store. All they sell is jerky and, some drinks and whatnot.
And
it's still
pop.
in the original wooden shack, and it says Cooper on the front. It's got a big Cooper sign. So yeah, it's.
And that's in Missouri?
Yeah. Oh no, Tennessee.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tennessee.
Yeah,
outside
of Memphis, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like you said, I didn't get to see it in person, but to see the picture and just think, that's your lineage. That was someone in my blood. That was their everything. You know what I mean? They were there every day, every night, every morning.
Yep.
It's cool to see, for sure.
Have you ever done one of those Ancestry.com or anything like that?
No.
I've been thinking about that lately. I know I'm Irish, I'm English, I'm German, a couple other things, but I think it'd be really cool to nail that down and understand exactly where our blood comes from.
Yeah, I know. My grandma's from Finland, my grandpa's from the Philippines on my mom's side, so mine might get a little interesting. I'll have a bunch of stuff all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my
Well,
dad's side is a bunch of different European stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know if anybody will like be able to make comments on this, but I'd love to hear from people like kind of what's your family's background, like what's the heritage, what's the lineage. I find that stuff so interesting. I think it's crazy. Like
the U.S. is truly a melting pot. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got a mix of anything. No one is strictly 100% one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Super cool. Alrighty.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that in the future.
Yeah, for sure. What else you got?
I don't think I have much to add other than we'll probably set up some social medias and whatnot. So maybe on the next episode we'll announce the names and stuff for that, and you guys can go ahead and give us a follow.
For sure. Awesome. Appreciate it. Well, starting this out, I mean, we both talked about it. It's not necessarily like, we want to blow this up and I don't know if you can sell podcasts, but it's like sell a podcast for $1 billion one day. It's more of like, this is kind of a fun side thing for us. I mean, it's really, I mean, you know this, but it's really a trio, like between you and me and our other buddy. But it's just us on here. And I think it's very evident that like all three of us know that there's really something unique. You can have really good friends who maybe out of like 10 things, you've got 3 things that bond you really close. Yeah. But I feel like for us, we're closer to the 10 than the 3. And it's just like, we all know that that's really unique. So I think that was the big inspiration for starting this.
It's not normal to find that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think...
Especially so late in life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly.
Like, usually you find your best friends and your brothers and whatnot when you're younger, but...
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, and like for all of us, like our mothers played a huge role like in our lives, like massive.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like I do anything for my mom. I know Corbin would say the same, and like you would do the same. Like it's just I don't know. It's really cool. So for anybody listening, to all the billions of people listening to this podcast right now, that's kind of our inspiration here. So the follows, the comments, whatever else is always appreciated, but. We just want to share some things that have like really, really shaped kind of who we are. I'm not saying that, we are so unique and all that there's ways that we are, but I just think that if there was nothing unique about our situation and situations individually and collectively, then we probably wouldn't be doing this. So anyways, we will you have anything else before we drop out?
I was going to say there's a song or a quote that mentions something along the lines of like I have my mother's heart and my father's eyes, I think. And I feel like that kind of maybe goes along with our situations. We've got our father's eyes, the big ambition, that, how you see the world and everything. But, still caring, loving, whatnot. From the mom side, so yeah. And
sometimes the mom is more fierce. They'll do anything for their kid. They get superpowers.
Yeah, I mean you've seen like lions and bears.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Female bears protecting their cubs, dude.
For sure.
Aggressive.
Well, the female lions are the ones that hunt. So, anyways, all right, everybody. All right. Well, if you're listening to this, thank you to all the billions of people out there listening to this, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.